folks, IB Sarah. Welcome back to IB Playing Persona 3 FES. Didn't mess up the game this time. The last episode was an episode. I'm also recording immediately after that, so like it literally is still in my mind. This episode is going to be a little bit short, just because I know what's upcoming, and I didn't mean for the last one to be so long. And I want to make sure the school trip falls on its own episode. So, I'll worry about that later. But it's going to be just a little bit of a short episode. But today is Sunday. And today, if you remember correctly, a few episodes ago, we may have made plans for Sunday. So this is going to be fun. Of course there's no school today. It's Sunday. But yeah. Last episode was fun. But that's the thing, this game is so good because it makes you look at things in a new perspective. And each time you play it, there's new perspectives you bring to it. And that's the thing, is it's so good for that. Of course. I got you covered. Yeah? Who cares? Like, there's nothing wrong with food. Food is good. Have what you want. Everything except an excess. Because if you have an excess of anything, yeah, then it's bad for you. There's always too much of something. Sure. What do I have to give Yukari as a gift? Do I have any flowers? Oh, red pine. I don't think Yukari would necessarily like that. Yukari would well, let's just try the flowers. She's not gonna like this. Yeah. I hope that didn't mess anything up. I don't think it did. But, oops. See, like, I knew antiques probably wasn't the way to go. So, at least I was on top of that there. I don't know, I could have been wrong. I could have been very, very wrong. Hi, Mitsuru. But, yeah, it's interesting. Life is interesting. There's all new things to do. Oh, hey, everybody's up here. Hey, Junpei. I mean, I'm not gonna do that. What's Akihiko going through? Oh. Listen, people change. Themselves is a fluctuating thing. It's not that she's not herself. She had a huge life experience happen to her. She's never going to be the same person as she was prior to that. Like, that's just never going to be the same Mitsuru. Mitsuru is just, that's who she is like now. Like, that experience has happened, and now this is the being she is. Her life experiences are all built on every life experience prior, and no person is the same in every single minute of the day. Because every single minute of the day, something new happens, and something changes, and the universe is moving, and the earth is rotating, and nobody is ever the same person, ever. That's just the images of people we've created in our minds. Like, that's the thing, is like, people are complex, and they have life, and they have all these perceptions of things that they've built based on what has happened to them. Based on like how they're raised and what areas they're raised and like just who their families are and everything and like what part of a city you've lived in. And so when different people start interacting with each other, you can look at the same type of thing and have two completely different experiences of it and two completely different views of it and everything. And just because like everybody is different, and then like you could come back to the same situation later and as different people because other things have happened in between times, and you just have to accept that nobody is ever going to be the same as they once were. That's just how people are. Everything's changing, everything's in flux. There is nothing constant except inconsistency. Not inconsistency. Yeah, inconsistency is close enough. Inconstancy? No, that's not a word. See, that's the thing, is there's not quite... Molecules are always moving. That's why things are warm and cold. Because the slower they move, the colder things are. They start moving more, they heat up. But everything is constantly moving. Like, a solid thing is only because those molecules are in a specific structure. They're still, like, infinitesimally small. Infinitesimal? Very tiny air gaps between everything. So, like, a solid thing technically is made out of just a bunch of little particles in a specific structure that the air gaps between them are too small for us to even, like, functionally manage. And we as humans, we're the same way. We're made up of all these little molecules, and those molecules are just in different ways, a little bit differently, tiny bitty differently, yet it changes so much about us. Like, we're like almost the same as bananas or something. Like, DNA wise, like, it's like a very high percentage the same as bananas, but it's a tiny little percentage that causes so many differentials and everything. So that's the thing, is like that's the thing, is then the experiences are like the invisible, like, molecules. Like, each one of our life experiences is an invisible molecule and DNA strand that makes us up, which changes our perceptions. So it changes how we go about life, and it's partly because of how we're raised, partly because of how we experience the world. And, like, we can change. Humans are able to change, but only if they want to, and only if they founded something inside themselves to keep them going forward, and have them discover something inside themselves that make them want to change or be better or be worse. I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is like, people are so in flux at all times that there's no constancy. There's just nothing that's ever the same, and all we can do is try and manage ourselves and continue to try and work with others and interact with others, because, yeah, there's nothing that's perfect. There's nothing in the universe that is exactly right. Because if that were the case, everything would strive to be like that. If there is something that was exactly perfect, everything would be, because that's what all of things are doing. Everything is doing is trying to be the best, trying to be better, trying to find that bit of perfection. And once it's found, everything would just mimic it. And then we'd have a boring universe. Everything would look like white and chrome, like that one episode of SpongeBob, because that's a reference I'm going to make in a very, like, weirdly existential video. But that's the thing, is like, if there was a perfection, everything would look like that. But all those little bits and imperfections of what creates the differences in the universe and the differences in people and everything, is something went a little bit wrong. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we can work with it and make it something that's right. Maybe we can find the good in it and everything. And it's all about finding the good in things. But if something is consistently proving to not be good, then, like, maybe there is a good in it, but from somewhere else and something else. I should probably pay attention to my class. But I'm going to stay awake and then continue talking about completely unrelated things. Oh, okay. Have fun with that. Oh, good. I answered correctly, even though I kind of forgot to answer correctly. Okay. Nothing but... Yeah, listen. I'm totally willing. I don't like accepting gifts because I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve kindness because I am not a kind person. I'm a cruel person that is terrible. And I say that in a way that it's not that I'm actively trying to be cruel. It is that we are humans and we make mistakes. And in trying our best, sometimes we just end up doing the worst. That's just how the universe works. That's how a lot of things work. And sometimes our best is just not ever going to be enough for whatever thing it is. And that's okay. That's when you walk away and just be like, okay, I did my best. I tried my hardest. It's not gonna work. Not at least now. Because that's the thing. But like, I'm not a good person. I'm too nice to be a good person. Because that's the truest statement I've ever made in any one of these videos. I'm too nice to be a good person. Let me write that down, because that is literally okay. That's the truest thing I've ever said, by the way, in my own opinion. I'm too nice to, I'm writing it down. Me, what's the date? I don't have a calendar on me. Okay, cool. But like, that's the thing, is like, I make so many mistakes and I live with them, and that's just how life works. And like, that's why I don't feel like I deserve gifts from anybody or anything, because like, I'm like, I know I don't deserve people's kindness, because I'm not kind enough. I'm not good. I'm just nice, and nice is different than good. Thank you, Into the Woods, for that line, because that's also a very true line. Nice and good are two completely different things. So that's why I just, and it's not like, please don't take pity on me. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just, that's how my brain works. And that's probably comes from being raised Catholic and all the Catholic guilt about how you have to be the best person ever in the universe. But the point of the universe, there's no point to the universe. The universe exists because it does. Because there's reactions and things changing all the time. But like, the point of being human is just to try and do your best and to put as much good into the world as you can, and to make things good as best as you can in the people and communities around you, and like your hometown and everything. Like, volunteer for things and try and make your hometown better, because in the hopes that goodness just ripple effects out into the universe. And that's the thing, is all we can hope for is that maybe the one little pebble in the lake, the one little good deed that we put in the center of the lake, will ripple effect out and make other good deeds happen. And that's all we can hope for, is to put one little good pebble in the lake and continue putting good pebbles in the lake, and that eventually all those ripples will be good ripples, and they'll ripple out and do things and make things better and make communities better, and that it passes on from generation to generation. Because all we can work for, what's a legacy? Because I'm about to quote Hamilton there, but I'm not going to quite do that's. We don't need to be obsessed with the legacy. All we should be doing is working on building a better future. Think WALL-E. There's no reason. There is no reason for them. About what? Okay, that's fine. There's no reason for them to want to save the plant for themselves, because you know what? Maybe that plant wouldn't have affected anything in their lifetime. Well, then why should we do it if it doesn't affect us? See, that's the question. That's a very cynical question. Why should we do it if it definitely doesn't affect us? Well, it affects the future. And that's why. Let's plant the plant. Plant the seed, the good little plant in the garden, and grow it up. And maybe it eventually becomes a giant tree. A giant tree that starts taking all the carbon dioxide out of the air, because it needs it, and puts oxygen back in the air. And then maybe the tree drops a couple of seeds and we plant those ones too. Like, it's not about you. It's about what we can do to make the future better. Because we're building a better future. That's the entirety of what we're there for. Is like, how, yeah, we're humans. We all have decisions. We all make mistakes. The best we can do is try and make the future better. Because it's not about us. It's never about us. Because we live short lives. And the grand scheme of things, sea turtles live longer than us. Much longer. They could live... And, like, sharks... Like, there's so many things that live a lot longer than us. And so many things that live a lot shorter lives than us. Like, listen, look at flies and bees. All they do... Okay, this is weird. We're going with it, okay? Just bear with me for a little bit. like, think of insects, which have a lot shorter lifespans than us. And yeah, technically they're less like brain complex creatures, but they have a distinct thing that they do that they're like, okay, this is what, like, they internally know that what they're supposed to do to create a future. That's what it's all about. Now, the church deciding that marriage needs to happen so kids can be had to just have more kids is messed up, and I have different opinions on that. But that's what the thing is what all these creatures, all the animals and all the plants and everything, and we're gonna minimize humans for a little bit, is that they're not acting selfishly, but acting to continue on. They're literally existing for survival, to continue surviving. That's all. They're existing to continue surviving and surviving and surviving and making sure the future survives and survives and survives. Because at the core of every creature is the thing to not want to die, in a way. And like, it seems that like non-human creatures, which is a very weird sentence, and we're just gonna go with it right now, have internally know that for them to continue to not die is to continue to live and exist to make future generations of sorts. Their continued survival means that they're more likely to bring new creatures into the universe for the continued survival of the new creatures. And yeah, some of them are left on their own really young ages and some of the things. But humans seem to have forgotten that because we have such awareness and such agency. And agency is important, and it's important to have free will and agency. And I will argue about that to no end, because free will and agency are the most important things. And consent, informed consent. Free will, agency, and informed consent. But the thing is we've created a sort of selfishness that surrounds that too, that we forget that, yeah, we can create a better life for us, but it's still, for us to continue to survive past our own lifespans, we have to continue to also create a better future for the next generation. And like, that's the thing that like apparently the animal kingdom minus humans remembers, is like, yeah, let's survive and continue to survive, but we're surviving to make sure something else also survives, so that we can create things to also survive, so we can pass on, so we can continue to exist as a being universally. Because that's what we are, is we're just communities, we're beings universally. And so for us to continue to survive means that we do have to have concern for others and care for others and concern for future generations, because it's not all about us as individuals. Once again, I will argue to no end about individuality and free will and agency and informed consent. But for a species to continue to survive, there has to be an awareness of, we need to be concerned for I'm not going to use the phrase greater good, even though that was definitely what the next two words were about to be. But like for a community, as a, hey, as people, as humans, as the human race, we need to make sure we establish an environment that we can continue to live and thrive in individually. That comes from a group effort. That comes from working together. That comes from maybe dropping one thing of the individual and saying, you know what, I want this for us, for people, for our future generations. And then being like, okay, now that we have this for everybody and established this for everybody, now I can work on my own individuality. And that individuality isn't allowed unless everybody has the option to. I'm getting slightly political, so my apologies, and that's a different discussion, and I've kind of lost my point along the way, which is par for the course. Do more good. Just try and put as much good as you can into the universe. Not for yourself, but for the future. That's why WALL-E, gosh, I need to rewatch WALL-E. I hope it's on Netflix, because I might go just rewatch it after when I'm editing and stuff. You good? Sometimes it's just better to be quiet and wait to listen. I need to learn that lesson too. You okay? Yeah? I like you? Yeah. I would say we're friends. This game portrays it as differently, but like, your friends do that too. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. It's a balance. Well, both? Why not both from that taco shell? I mean, she's part of the team. Ah, some more than friends in your case. Probably ours too. Okay. Yukari's a smart girl. I like her. I say that about every single character in this game because it's true. I just wish the game would allow people to become close without having to date them, because that can happen, and this game is dumb. I have so many judgments on this game, and yet it's still one of my favorite things of all time. Okay, bye, Yukari! But this game is silly, not dumb. I need to stop using the word dumb. It's not very good of me. But that's the thing is...
Sup, dude?
You've got to work... That's the thing about Wally, is that they were working for a future. Not just for a now. Because if... Like, that's what I said. It's like... And people do want futures. Because they want people to continue to survive and thrive. And so, like, selfishness... There are times, yeah, you need to be a little bit selfish. But not at others' expenses. That's when it's not good. And that's when you've gone too far. It's all about community and building a better community and better worlds. Because we're just a bunch of people trying to come together and trying to live our own lives. And the only way to just be able to live our own lives is by having concern and care for others and trying to build the best future possible. Because that means we're also building a good present for us. Because a good future can't be established on a bad present. So if you're working to build a good future, that means you're trying to make the present the best that it can be. I be Sarah Rochelle. I've been playing Persona 3 FES. And thank you. For watching, peeps. Okay, this conversation was a lot longer than I expected. My apologies, but I be Sarah Rochelle. I've been playing Persona 3 FES. And thank you for watching, peeps.